I'm Martin Draper. I'm an Anglican priest, and I have been for 40 years the chairman of the English Hymnal Company Limited. The Revised English Hymnal is the latest in a family of books which goes back to 1906, and we have produced the sort of book that is, we hope, a worthy latest addition to the English hymnal family. I have a strong belief that everyone ought to have a hymn book. And obviously I'm talking as someone whose spirituality is formed, I suppose, mainly by the prayer book tradition. I don't mean in some arcane way, but the tradition of common prayer within the Church of England and the English hymnal. It was used in the church that I went to from the very beginning. I've never worked at a church that didn't use it, so I do know it absolutely backwards, and I have imposed on congregations wherever I've ministered that they actually explore the book in full. It is a hymn book, and again this is a feature of it, which included more hymns by major poets than any other hymn book had done, and probably still does. There are hymns by John Donne, by George Herbert, major English poets. It is a hymn book of literary excellence, but it's not, when you say your prayers, you're not trying to necessarily read poetry for the sake of it, but they do move people. The hymns which are on the weekly sheet that the vicar has produced, that's not the only hymn, they are not the only hymns in the book, and they're not the only hymns in our heritage, which belongs to all of us. Service sheets, I think, are something which appall me. I'm not talking about a carol service when you've got hundreds of people that are not familiar with church, but churches where you go and the whole service is printed out, I think it's environmentally extremely unsound for a start. We're great at thinking that these sorts of things are good, and people will tell me, oh, we recycle. You don't recycle. You have to question whether you really need to print it in the first place, and the answer is no. Can you reuse it? No. So you recycle it. The hymn book is wonderful for buying something which will serve you for 30 years. For the whole generation, and still until everybody needs something new. Here is a book spanning centuries, from the 3rd century up to the 21st century, and that belongs to all of us as a church, and we have a right to access that, and not just to be given 3 or 4 hymns which are chosen and have the whole tradition basically denied to us. So I think for environmental reasons, but more importantly for spiritual reasons, for our growth and our celebration of our whole culture, our worldwide Christian culture, then a hymn book is absolutely essential. I certainly think parishes, schools, individuals should buy a copy of the Revised English Hymnal when it appears, because it is so comprehensive. And if I was asked to just say something in a few words, I would say, not at all humbly, I think it's probably the greatest hymn book around.